What's up everyone, my name is Kathleen and welcome to my channel. Hello Kathleen Green, long time no see. I wanted to come on here and give you guys an update about my life and what's going on. Right, so I was living in upstate New York. I was a medical surgical nurse up there for 2.5 years almost, and I'm in grad school now, my second semester, and it's crazy already. I got engaged. Bling bling, but I love it so much and I'm so grateful to be engaged to Carson. And we moved to a new state, and it's very different here. We live in like a city. If you follow me on Instagram at Hello Kathleen Green or Nurse Kathleen Green, you'll see that we live in a high-rise building and we have some nice views, and I really wanted to live by the water and live in a nice luxury apartment, so we're doing it, and it feels amazing to, you know, accomplish goals that I set for myself and goals that me and Carson set together. So it's really awesome. I went from medical surg specialty to medical ICU, and that transition was a little bit, I'm still transitioning basically because I'm still on orientation in the medical ICU. Assessment skills are really good, of course, because I came from a medical surgical floor and I had like, you know, 4 to 6 patients on night shift. But the documentation, because I went from Meditech to Epic, is very different. In Epic, it prompts you to do things like for the first time, but then for the rest of the shift I have to remember like I'm in ICU, like I'm not like on med surg where I just document my one assessment, and then if anything changes I'll go in and, you know, do another assessment. But in the medical ICU you have to document. At where I work, they want it every hour. I know that for other ICUs usually it's every 2, but for us we do everything every hour, which means assessment, vitals. Meds aren't really like due every hour, but it's more, I have to be more on top of things because some patients have multiple drips running, and if they're in the isolation room I want to make sure that my drips are good so I don't have to keep on going in and out of the rooms. I also have to do rate verify checks, a lot of dual sign-off medication for like propofol and insulin drips and heparin drips, just a lot of IV medications. And it's very hard and very tedious because these medications are of course keeping these people alive. I thought that the nurses would be more like particular about things down to the wire, which they're not, which is very relaxing for me. So like I know, like God forbid if I miss like a number or something, or like I have to go back into the system and check, they're not like angry with me. Because before I do anything I usually watch a lot of videos on YouTube or I'll read articles, and from what I was hearing from YouTube was that ICU nurses are very particular and very like aggressive and very straightforward, which I feel like a lot of nurses are straightforward in the ICU where I work, which is a good thing. I don't like to beat around the bush. That's wasting time. I don't know exactly how to say, but it's intense, but not as intense as I thought it was gonna be. Oh my God. Oh my God. If you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you know, or Twitter, I posted a little bit on Twitter about the Central Islip High School class reunion for the class of 2011. Which I was planning with multiple people who were in the Student Government Association, and that was a whole drama-filled thing. I haven't had drama like that in a while. Like I had some drama at SUNY Adirondack with some people, but I was also extremely stressed, and I was a cheater. I was cheating on my man. It was just a whole mess. Anyway, so yeah, that drama on Facebook was very interesting. I haven't had people like have posts directed towards me that I knew of in a long time. So I just felt like I was back in high school and people were so angry about like everything. And I'm like, bro, like it's not that serious. And now I was making videos and everyone was just offended by everything I did. And I'm like, okay, like, all right, I'm sorry y'all offended. Like anything I say was considered offensive. Mind you, I didn't call anybody out their name. I didn't say any racial slurs, even though people were calling me a Karen and saying all these things that weren't true. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then that brings me to planning my wedding. So a rumor was that I was going to use the money from the reunion to plan my wedding. That's a dub. And then people were like, oh, you shouldn't say that. Your wedding won't only be $7,500. So fucking what? Like, everybody is just so angry all the time in this world, and I'm over it. Misery loves company, and I'm not miserable, and I don't need no damn company, so peace. Anyway, planning for our wedding. So it's really exciting. Weddings are very expensive, at least for what we, well, more so what I want. Carson's like a very laid back person. I'm so grateful that he's so laid back, because if he wasn't, this would not work. Because I'm just like not a control freak, but more so a very organized and strategic person. What else? So yeah, planning a wedding, just doing research. We already know where we want to get married at. It's beautiful, but we got to figure out what month and stuff like that. And there's like a freeze on prices because of inflation going on, so we can't really like say, oh, we want to do this and book this for so and so date, because we can't, because their prices might change. So they're like, we don't really know, but we'll give you the prices for like this year, and then, you know, we can go from there, and eventually we'll touch base again and figure out if we're gonna get married there or not. And then also, our family like doesn't live in New Jersey, so we're gonna have our family come out here, and some are probably gonna want to stay in a hotel. So we wanted a venue that has a hotel, but in the summertime the hotel is very, very expensive, and we don't want our families traveling out here and having to pay for that expensive ass hotel. We were thinking about getting block rooms, but if we get rooms for everybody, it's gonna be probably like $15,000 to $20,000 just to book the rooms for everybody, and that is something that I do not want to pay for. I don't know, we'll see about that. It's just very exciting to be like a grown woman now who's in a committed relationship, because like I'm all for like having sexual experiences and for being with multiple people before you settle down, because I don't know, that's just what I did. You know, everyone's different. Some people just get married and have sex with one person for the rest of their life. I wanted to experience life. I got to have my hoe days. I had a good ass time. Okay, I really did. And if you were part of my hoe days, whether you was my friend partying with me or people that I messed with, we all had a fucking good time, and I can't deny that. Carson also had a good ass time when he was younger. Like, he lived a free and full life, and now we're both ready to settle down, and we met each other at such a good time. And I'm so grateful that we met at this time, because if we would have met like before, we would never worked out, because we were in two completely different places. I feel, you know, I'm gonna take this time to apologize to some of my exes, because I've been with some really good guys, and I treated them pretty poorly. I also got treated poorly, you know, and they didn't apologize for that, but I'm apologizing to them for treating them poorly. You know, I did my dirt, which I should never did. You know, some guys were really good to me, and I'm so grateful that I had those relationships, but it's over now. And I hope that if anyone is watching this, that you accept my apology and kind of let go of those things. And also just to, you know, anyone who I hurt in general, because I did date women in the past. So if I hurt you as a female, which I feel like I did hurt a lot of females' feelings, I didn't do it intentionally. But when I look back, like, you know, once I got into a very serious relationship where the love was like even, like, maybe not so much even, but when like the goal was both like the same, I realized that when I was in past relationships, how some other people hurt me, I hurt them in that way because they thought that we were like this, and I was like, I don't really like you as much as you like me, so it didn't work out. So, you know, like, just being in such a committed relationship and being engaged really made me reflect on my past relationships and how I was. And let me tell you, knowing how you are in a relationship and admitting to your wrongs will do so much good for you. Because a lot of times people are like, oh, relationships didn't work out because like the guy was crazy or the girl was crazy. And sometimes it's just you, and you're probably not crazy, but you're in situations where, you know, you don't know how to communicate, or like your emotions are overflowing, or you're just going through a lot in general where, like, you know, personally you couldn't put enough into the relationship because you were too busy focusing on something else. And you know, there's a million reasons why relationships don't work out, and that's okay. But just kind of reflecting on why relationships didn't work out is so, you know, soul filling, and it helps you let go of like a lot of things. I still have a lot of PTSD from domestic violence relationships, but I feel like I'm getting better. And I also still have a little bit of like trust issues, not so much when it comes to like relationships, but more so friendships. All right, so that's that for that piece. I also want to talk real quick about like standards. Let me tell y'all something. My therapist, in I think it was 2017 or 2018, when I was with the guy who I was with at that time, I was telling her, I was like, I don't know if I really love this guy, or like if I just love the idea of him, or like if he just makes me comfortable. I was like, he's not doing enough, all these other things. And I was like, my standards are that I want like a guy who's like in a master's program or getting a graduate degree or higher, or someone who is like an athlete who's definitely going to like the NFL or like the NBA, you know, stuff like that. That's what I thought I wanted. And someone who was making like 6 figures and had a really good job and was super independent and had their own car. Like, I wanted all these things because I couldn't provide most of those things myself. Like, I knew that I wanted to eventually like get my master's degree one day. I didn't realize it was gonna be so soon. It just kind of flowed for me. I just thought that all those things were something that I needed. And in that therapy session, she was like, Kathleen, it just seems like you want someone who's gonna be like conscious of your time, who takes care of you, who, you know, accepts your medical conditions and can handle you, you know, as you are when you're having like very bad episodes of like your heart racing, or like you're getting inflamed from the histamine intolerance and all these other things. And that day I was like, you know what, that is so true. All I want is someone who's gonna care for me and spend time with me and not work excessively, because I really thought I wanted a man who could provide me a lot financially, but that's not true. Like, I value time more than money and material things. So that's why me and Carson's relationship is so good, because he's able to give me so much of his time and attention, and I love that. And I'm so grateful that our relationship works out that way, because I need that. I need that so bad. And I'm grateful that I found it. And, you know, Carson doesn't have like a master's degree and all that other stuff, and I let go of that stuff. Like in 2018, I was like, you know what, like all those standards that I had or whatever, all those expectations, I don't need them. But in 2019, I finally met Carson, and then it really opened my eyes, like, wow, like all those things that I thought I needed and wanted in a man are things that don't matter to me really, because I just really wanted someone, like I said, who can spend a lot of time with me, is patient with me, understands like my medical stuff, and doesn't like make me feel bad when I feel sick, or like when I have to go to the hospital at 3 a.m. because my heart's tripping, or I can't breathe, or I don't feel good, or like I'm panicking because I have hives on my fucking face 5 hours after eating. We're closer to my family on Long Island, and I'm so happy that we are. My mom and my little sister are gonna come see the apartment. My little sister saw it already, but my mom hasn't. My dad has, and Dee, which is my dad's wife, she saw the apartment already. And I'm just happy that, you know, I'm around more diversity. I live in a city. I don't know if I'm like too happy about that, because it's a lot of people. And also now I understand, like I understood before, but now like I'm able to see why COVID spread so quickly in more populated cities, because legit every single day, like I'm taking elevators, I'm touching shit like all the time. There's people around all the time. I'm in elevators with people all the time. It's just you're exposed to so many more people out here compared to like living in the suburbs. And people who live in the suburbs or who live in the country don't realize that. Like in the city, like it's like, oh, it's just a lot of people. It's like, oh, it's a lot of people, and you're touching a lot of things, and you're in a lot of confined spaces together. just all these things combined. That's my life update. So basically, you know, I moved, I'm in the medical ICU now. I'm in a nurse practitioner program and I'm taking doctorate level courses, which is something that I think deep down in my heart that I wanted to do, but I didn't realize that I would be able to execute it. And I don't want to say I don't know if I'm executing it, but clearly if I'm smart enough to get into the class, I'm clearly smart enough to pass. I just have to do the work for it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I miss you all so much, and I love making content. I love editing content, and this is something near and dear to my heart, and talking to you guys is something that I love so much. And that's also why I revamped my Nurse Kathleen Green mentorship program. If you're interested in that, please send me an email at nursekathleen@gmail.com, because I love helping people. I love talking to people. I believe that there's enough room in this world for all of us to be successful, no matter what career you have, no matter what job you have. There's enough space for everyone to live their dreams, be successful. It's important for us to share information with each other. So if you're interested in being one of my mentees, please send me an email. I would love to hear from you. And this is a program for people who want to be nurses. So if you're taking your prereqs, or if you're in a nursing program, such as an associate's in nursing, a diploma in nursing, or a bachelor's of science in nursing, please feel free to hit me up. I would love to talk to you. We have a meeting, see if we connect. We can move forward. If we don't connect, that's fine too. We can just, you know, cut things off there, and that's cool. And I hope you find a good mentor. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram at Hello Kathleen Green and Nurse Kathleen Green, and then on Twitter it's Hello Kat Green and Nurse Kat Green. Make sure you subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.